Well, General, this is Timothy Sejjusa of WBS TV.
Yes.
First and foremost, we thank you for returning back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, General, the first thing, talk about your life in London.
When I arrived in London, I was not prepared for exile life because I had just gone on my routine visit and I was coming back when they deployed. So really I was not prepared. But it was made possible for me to stay. But it was not easy life, because life in exile, initially, especially when you've been in government and so on, it's like a shock. Although for me it wasn't such a big thing, because I have a history of fighting in the bush and I'm a warrior. Just before I left, I had spent 2 weeks in Bulisa. I was staying in a tent. Those of Agungu can tell you, on a tent in the middle of mosquitoes. I was the so-called what I was in the tent until I resolved that question. So London was not a very big problem, other than security of state agents who were following me. Many times actually, but the British had to put me under protection. And so that was resolved. But also another problem was that another problem of exile life, as you are talking, is that you are not in your country, and you cannot do what you want to do. But somehow, my life in exile helped me to organize, because when the government stopped me from coming back, I was left with no option except also to start mobilizing. So it's really them who dictated how I should react, because it's always your adversary who defines your methods of resistance. So it's not by choice, because either I had to stay in exile forever, or I had also to create a counter force. So much of my life in London was I was an activist. I was mobilizing. I formed Free Uganda, a political platform, which is really a political platform for capacity building for all groups in the country, to build capacity, to change things for the better, to know the rules, to know, to set plans, to work on disciplined approaches of bringing about change, of trying to galvanize popular, awareness, of trying to deal with some of these divisive issues. So it has not been, and I found it even in exile. Your disunity here goes even in exile. So it was not, so that was another thing, having for the first time I had to immerse myself into the political waters of Uganda in exile, and also here. But I learned a lot in exile, because it helped me to see another way of things, in a way other than what I was doing. But it also helped to look at myself, which I think was a wonderful time of regeneration and recasting, and seeing whether there is a better way of doing things. Although I had talked about many things when I was here, as you remember, over a long time, a period of time. But having this time in exile gave me a chance to reflect on the ideals for which our people died and for which we sacrificed, and also on what our people deserve. Because it's not always about what we, but it is what you people also deserve, and which you are entitled to. So my life in exile was very rewarding.
Well, General, many people have been anxious seeing you returning home, given a lot of statements that were playing on in the media, and your international television interviews that you were carrying. But Ugandans would be interested in knowing what were the terms and conditions under which you had to return, and we have not seen things like you being ruffled at the airport, being charged of certain cases. What were the terms and conditions?
There are no terms. There are no terms. There are no terms. I'm what I am. I know, Ugandans think that. You see, this is the problem with Ugandan, with some, oppression, it creates a situation of looking at things upside down. When people you return, they think you should return because there are conditions. They do not address the question that in the first instance you are entitled to return. So I was never supposed to be stopped in the first instance. That was an error. That deployment, that sick deployment, which was an embarrassment and a scandal, was never supposed to be. And I'm sure the government learned its lesson over time. And the other time, even when they did it to Mr. Mbabas and so on. These are things which are not sustainable, that type of belligerence. So my coming back was bound to happen. The only thing is that I had to weigh two options. The first option was, which I was working on, using the mass, the popular uprising of the youth and so on, because I would have come either way, even if I was arrested. And I would come to Entebbe and they would tear gas and shoot and arrest, but still I would come. And then they would arrest people and so on. Or make sure that I return as an individual so that I do not subject my people, my supporters and Ugandans to this brutal force of the police. And then in that case, then I sacrifice myself than the people. This is what I chose. I said I will go and try my luck. And I called my lawyer. The government was aware because when I came to Entebbe airport, they had deployed. I found their director general, so I found their people from the State House, because they are in charge. And they were trying actually to take me to immigration and take my fingerprints. I said, but I'm a Ugandan and so on. But I had called my lawyer also, Wakafuzi, and my sister who was there, the other ones. So actually my lawyer took me to the car, which they had hired, which they are there. So I do not want to dwell on the conditions, because you see, that's wasting my time. Why is it wasting my time? Resistance is not like abasezi, sorcerers. Sorcerers, they do their work in darkness when everybody is asleep. Resistance is done during the day. So what is your worry? What is your worry? If there was a deal, you would see it. If there was no deal, you would see it. So don't dwell on non-issues. Omukyala bw'aba n'olubuto lwa myezi 9 ali kumpi kuzaala oba 8, then you go and start arguing. Anazaala ki? What is your problem? Mulenzi oba muwala, he will produce. So forget about it. What I went to do and what I've been believing in, I'm more convinced than ever before that I was right, than ever before, because of what is happening in the country, of what is happening inside the National Resistance Movement organization, of the fragmentation of the population, of the anger of this youth. You look at them, the things even when they come to see me, it's very, very worrying. It's not good to allow a country to degenerate into this type of thing. So if you are implying that did I make